Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to ASTRA, the daily current affairs. So, in this video, I am going to make the current affairs of 2nd October 2025. It should be noted that today there is no Hindu newspaper. So, we have taken the Indian Express newspaper and we have taken the current affairs from the Indian Express itself. Right. So, this is the thing. So, please allow me to share the screen. We will be making that video now. So today it is 2nd of October 2025. However, the current affairs belongs to not the Hindu, but it is of Indian Express. So President Mr. Trump has reiterated his commitment to save Qatar relations between US and Qatar. Recently, we know that Israel has bombarded some cities in Qatar, saying that Hamas terrorists are taking shelter in Qatar. So, in this context, Mr. Trump has reiterated his commitment or America's commitment to stand by Qatar, and he said that any country which is invading into the sovereign rights of this Qatar state will become the so-called an enemy to US, and US is going to protect Qatar sovereignty at any cost. So Mr. Trump said that he will be ready to wage any type of economical or political or military actions against the so-called any state which is disturbing Qatar's sovereignty. The second one is monument conservation. Recently, Ministry of Culture, Government of India has said that the international or Indian monuments, the heritage sites, so far which have been conserved by the so-called Archaeological Department of India, will be also opened to private conservation. So Government of India is opening private sector participation in the conservation of natural heritage sites in the country and cultural heritage sites also. So India and Russia. So it is said that this month Mr. President Putin is going to visit India. So this is one-to-one diplomatic relations. So the diplomatic relations was started, annual bilateral summits was started between in the year 2000. So we are in the year 2026. So for 24 bilateral meetings has happened between both the countries. The last meeting was held in 2024. So after Russia-Ukraine war, this bilateral summit was halted. So now they have restarted this bilateral summit from the year 2026. So this is a high-level engagement between India and Russia. Minimum support price. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs have increased the minimum support price for the upcoming Rabi season for the financial year 2026 and 27 market of Rabi seasons. So in this, we have to know what are the minimum support price or what are the Rabi crops for which MSP is given. Kaziranga National Park. Recently, the Cabinet Committee has recommended or given permission to lay down four-way lane across the so-called Kaziranga National Park. So Kaziranga is in news. We have to know about Kaziranga very well. H-125 helicopters. So H-125 is in news. What is this? These are Airbus helicopters. So far these helicopters was manufactured in the so-called European countries. Now recently Airbus has said that they are going to open their manufacturing unit in Karnataka. Monetary Policy Committee, which has met last day, have said that on October 1st, Monetary Policy Committee has met, and the RBI Governor and Monetary Policy Committee has reiterated their position that MPC will be the policy rates will be same. So in this context, the Monetary Policy Committee has met and they maintained the same repo rates. Next, recently there was some news like IEEPA. What is this? This is related to USA. USA is keeping extra taxes on the so-called many countries based on this act that is called IEEPA. Next, flying rivers. Amazon forests are in news. So flying rivers is in the news. It is relating to what is this flying rivers. Flying rivers means normally in the Atlantic Ocean, due to evaporation, water will evaporate and these winds carry the so-called the clouds towards Amazon forest, and in the Amazon forest, due to evapotranspiration, now this water gets condensed and heavy rains occur in the so-called Amazon belt. So Amazon rivers, the world's dense and the world's largest rivers in the world, is getting rainfall through this flying rivers itself. So this is in news. So these are the current affairs that we have in 2nd October as far as prelims and mains is considered. Let's have a quick recap about how they are present. Right, we'll see them in a while here. So first of all, What is this flying rivers concept? These are the flying rivers. Flying rivers are created by air currents that carry enormous amounts of water vapor across the sky. So water vapor that is present in the sky is called as flying river. Air currents, they will take water from the so-called Atlantic Ocean. They are drifted towards this Amazon forest and they will be rerouted. So Amazon wind currents takes water vapors across the continent and moisture is exchanged here, and through this there will be heavy rainfall, and through this rainfall it is reaching back to the so-called Atlantic Ocean. This is called flying rivers concept which is present in the South American context as well as in the so-called this belt. This is important. So the Amazon forest is heavily relying on the so-called the water cycles created by this flying rivers. So now due to the so-called excessive deforestation in the Amazon forest, this flying river cycle is getting disturbed. As a result, it is challenging the climate change of South America altogether. This is what I said. Qatar is in news. You have to know what are the boundaries or borders of Qatar. Qatar is surrounded by Saudi Arabia itself. So Saudi Arabia is the only country which is landlocked, which is sharing its land boundary with Qatar, and Qatar is present in Persian Gulf. On one side you have Bahrain and Manama. So this is what we have to know. Qatar city surrounded by surrounded by one land boundary that is called Saudi Arabia. Kaziranga National Park, already we have discussed this in depth. Please go through my previous videos. Just look at what are the national parks that is present in Assam. There are 7 national parks. At the same time, Kaziranga is having the so-called the 4 big species or 5 big species. Recently, it was in news. So this is in news because 2 new the 4-way lane extension is happening in Kaziranga National Park. So Kaziranga is a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Assam. It is protected area and it is the one hard rhinos is present in largest population. So if you are following my videos, please answer this question. Which national park has highest density of rhinos and which national park has largest population of rhinos? Please answer these 2 questions. Which national park has world's largest population of one-horned rhinos, and which national park in India has world's largest density of rhinos, one-horned rhinos? These are the 2 questions which UPSC will ask. Please answer this. I have already answered this. So Rabi crops: wheat, barley, gram, lentil, rapeseed or mustard, and safflower. So wheat, barley, gram, lentils, safflower. So remember these crops. Next, RBI allows to fund M&As lend in rupee to residents of Indian neighbors. So recently Reserve Bank of India have said that banks has to lend more to the so-called microfinance sectors, and they have to lend to the so-called RBI allows banks to fund M&As M&As lend in rupee to residents in Indian neighbors. So this is what RBI has said in this context. This is what I am saying. As Amazon flying rivers weakens with the tree loss, scientists warn of severe droughts across the this is Atlantic Ocean. So through this water is circulated in the Amazon belt. Most of the Amazon rainfall starts over the Atlantic Ocean. Moist air is pushed inland by the steady winds that blow from west along the equator, known as trade winds. So this is very important to remember. The forest act like say pump relaying the water system. Trump pledges to defend Qatar and signs executive orders. America is unlikely to change the tariff stance based on Supreme Court ruling. So this is what I said. The International Emergency Economic Powers Act. International Emergency Economic Powers Act of the US gives extra provisions for the President of US to keep tariffs on the countries which are creating high tariffs in their respective lands. So if India is imposing tariffs on America, definitely America gets this right through this act known as International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Right, this is what I said. RBI leaves repo rate unchanged at 5.5% and it maintains policy neutral stand. Next one is H125 Airbus. It is primarily a civil helicopter. This can be considered as successor to Cheetah and Chetak helicopters. So currently Airbus manufactures one H125 helicopters at the so-called France, Brazil and USA. Now they are thinking to launch it in Kolar district in Karnataka. Next one is, this is what I said. Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. Cabinet clears 4-lane highway passing through this, and officials said that a section of the highway passing through National Park has been designed in consultation with Union Ministry of Environment, and they have taken the help of NTC, National Tiger Conservation Authority, and Wildlife Institute of India. Cabinet hikes MSP. India prepares to host Putin. So the bilateral summits have been started in the year 2000. So far 22 annual summits, I said 24, sorry, 22 annual summits has taken place so far, and it is going to be one significant thing, because recently India has been imposed of 25% tariffs due to the so-called importing oil from Russia, and further it was increased to 25, so totally 50%. In first, monument conservation open to private players. This is what I have said. So these are the current affairs that we have, ladies and gentlemen, for the so-called today, that is 2nd of October 2025. Just go through this, and whatever you want, you can download it from our Telegram channel. Thanks for joining. Have a great day.